Hi, just using my dingle hopper. Hi, my name is Christy. Welcome back to my channel. I have a Little Mermaid inspired apron video for you today. I need to wash this. Don't come to my house for dinner because you don't know where the utensils have been. The fabric was a little difficult to work with, but that's only because I couldn't find the right color in the cotton canvas and I had to opt for outdoor upholstery furniture fabric. It was just a little thicker. My machine did not like it. Anyways, thank you to Jenna for the very fun reveal at the end. Hope you stick around for that. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. If you're ready, I'm ready. I'm so excited. Thanks for being here. Let me go find my snarf blat now. Ooh, wow, that's a tangle. It's actually pretty good at getting tangles out. Definitely gonna need to wash this. For this fun apron, I bought 3 colors of cotton canvas. Okay, 2 colors. Some black, some white, and then I had to opt for outdoor furniture fabric to get the right teal color. It's mostly the same, just a little thicker. I've doubled over the fabric to cut 2 pieces from the same apron bib pattern I made from the Princess Leia apron. Click the upper right corner to watch that video. Since this will be a fully functional apron, Jenna wanted the sides of the skirt to go further around her hips to fully protect her clothes. I am once again using the Princess Leia apron skirt pattern, which is basically just a rectangle, and widening it to the full length the fabric will allow me. The top of the skirt will be gathered, so it will scrunch up to the correct size. And I once again forgot to round the corners on my apron, both in the previous apron video and again in this one. To create the black overlay portion of the bib, I am designing from a picture from the movie and cut out the exact same bib size of the black cotton canvas. I have an extra challenge this project since a dog ate most of my fabric chalk. I won't mention his name, but it starts with a P and ends with an Iper. Anyways, before working with the black fabric, I want to first make a slate scoop neck on the white fabric. Fold the piece in half to mark the middle, and then I measured down 1 inch from there. Took my pathetic piece of chalk and sketched a curve. Fold it in half again to cut. This will make sure it's symmetrical on both sides, and then do the same thing on the black piece. I'm gonna try my hardest to explain what I did here. From the middle, I marked down 3 inches and a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then 2 inches on either side of that center mark to make a V. I'm honestly just making this up as I go. I marked down 3 inches from the side and then 2 inches from the V, connected that line, and then turned the line into a curve. After a few attempts, I'm finally happy with the curve, then folded the fabric in half and added a 1/2 inch seam allowance to cut both sides at the same time. I made a few adjustments and then turned down the seam allowance to see how close I'm getting to the picture. With the wrong side facing up, fold over the edge twice and pin in place to sew. Sew along the V, backstitching at the beginning and end, pivoting the fabric at the middle. Next, double fold down the top and pin. Before sewing, do a quick check by folding it in half and making sure that both curves are symmetrical. Make any adjustments and then sew. I did a few hand stitches in the center of the V to make sure that the fabric didn't fray at all. Now that the black overlay is completely finished, we can now pin it to the white. For the neck strap, I cut out a 3.5 inch by 23 inch strip of the white fabric. Fold it in half and then pin in place to sew, leaving both ends open. Trim down the seam allowance and attach a safety pin to one end to turn it right side out. Then give it a quick press before attaching it to the rest of the apron. The strap will be nestled between the 2 layers. Invert it so that it is facing down and then pin in place where you want it to be. I'm marking mine about 1.5 inches in. Place the other bib piece on top with right sides facing together and pin in place, making sure the straps don't shift location. And then here comes my first sewing injury. Fast forward about 5 seconds if you don't want to see 2 drops of blood. Oh, jeez. Since I'm making this apron for someone else, I'm sure they would not appreciate my blood being on it. I sanitized my mat, fixed my boo-boo, threw out the fabric with the blood on it, and recut a fresh one. Then was careful to keep my fingers far from the razor-sharp pins. I know, I'm being dramatic. So on 3 sides, leaving the bottom open to turn it right side out. Clip the corners, then turn it right side out, poke out the corners, and it should look something like this. Stay tuned for a dramatic dog attack. Oh, bees. Come on, Whooper. Whooper. No! So many dogs. No. Good news. I survived my finger injury and double dog attack and am now double folding the fabric to hem the skirt. Pins aren't necessary since this fabric easily stays right in place where you fold it, but they were helpful on the corners. To ruffle the top of the skirt, sew 2 lines of parallel stitching using the longest stitch length on your machine and do not backstitch at the beginning or the end. Separate the top threads from the bobbin threads, just ruin that cherished partnership by selecting your favorite and start gently pulling on the favored threads, leaving the other pair to wonder what they did wrong in life. Gather the skirt as much as you'd like and then move on to the waistband. I've cut 2 waist strap pieces that measure 2.5 inches by 40 inches and a center waistband piece that will measure 31 inches by 2.5 inches once sewn together, and a matching decorative chiffon layer to go over top. To join the waistband, face them right sides together and just sew the edge. After you iron the seam open, this is what it looks like. Place the chiffon layer on top and pin around the edges. Attach by top stitching all 4 sides. Before attaching the strap pieces to the center front, fold over each edge lengthwise about 1/4 inch and iron a crease. To attach the strap piece to the chiffon center piece, flip right sides together and sew along the edge. I ended up cutting and ironing the side folds of 2 additional strap pieces to fit over the raw edges. There are probably better ways to do this, but this is what my brain was thinking to do at the time. I had a deadline to meet, so I lined up and pinned the 2 layers wrong sides together to top stitch. And you know what? It worked. Here's what it will look like after it's all sewn together. But before attaching the waistband, we need to first sew the bib to the skirt. I want the chiffon layer to be the width of the skirt, so I gathered and ungathered it until they were the same length. Tie off the ends and zhuzh out the ruffles so that they were even. Then finish the top off on my serger. Fold the bib in half to chalk the middle and do the same to the skirt. Line up those 2 marks, then face them right sides together. Pin the layers and sew just beyond the gathering stitches. Find the middle of the waistband and pin it to the middle of the skirt. Top stitch the entire thing from the strap through the waistband and around the other strap to finish eventually where you started. This took forever, especially since I needed to make sure that everything lined up perfectly with those 2 double folded layers. And then just when I thought I was done, I remembered I still needed to add pockets. I'm making them 6 inches wide with a ruffle at the top to make it look like a seashell. I cut 2 layers of the pocket pieces for each one and 2 layers of the ruffles, then pin the ruffles together to sew on 3 sides, leaving 1 long side open. Clip the corners and then turn them right side out. Sew a long gathering stitch just like we did on the skirt on the end we left open. And also just like we did on the skirt, gather the ruffle until it fits the main pocket piece. Tie off the ends and fold it down onto 1 layer of the pocket. Pin so that the ruffle won't get caught in a 1/2 inch seam allowance on either side. You can even pin the corners in like I'm showing here. Place the other pocket piece on top and then pin the edges, leaving a 2 inch gap so that we can turn it right side out. To make sure that the ruffle didn't get caught, I sewed a very narrow 1/4 inch seam allowance around the edges and a 1/2 inch along the ruffle top. Once again, clip the corners and cut notches around the curves. Turn it right side out and poke out the corners, and hopefully you have a seashell-y, ruffly, pockety. Pin the pockets on the skirt where they hang the best and top stitch around the edge of the pockets. My machine did not like the many layers of fabric I was making it go through. As I struggle to get my machine to sew just one more pocket. Keep in mind to backstitch several times at the tops and make sure you are carefully closing that 2-inch gap left at the bottom. If you don't, that would be a pretty terrible pocket. Yikes. I finally got it to cooperate a few more minutes before I gave it a much needed rest. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. Please enjoy the final mermaid reveal.
Jenna, don't you have to go to work? Oh no, what time is it? Time for work?